Yeah, just talk about that.
All right. Well, we're going to talk about fulfillment. We're going to do that kind of stuff. So you're joining Jonah, KJ52, and Pastor Jeff here. We're getting ready to talk about fulfillment. I'm excited about this because I've been living this for the last 4 or 5 years. I was youth pastor for 18 or 20 years, and then always had this dream to be a lead pastor. Now I get to do that. So I understand the life of holding on to something and being fulfilled. So tell me a little bit about your journey on this winding road to fulfillment.
Well, there's probably 3 things that were like dreams of mine in my 20s to be fulfilled. One was obviously being married. Another one was getting a record deal, and another one was going to full-time ministry. So in each one of those situations, when I got that, I realized one of 2 things, is that once you finally get it, you're like, it's a lot of work still involved. Like, it's not over. Yeah, it's definitely not over. But the one that was probably the one I thought about the most was getting my actual record deal, because that's like any artist that is their dream. It's that final like stamp of approval that someone believes in you enough to allow you to have that sort of platform. My particular situation was when I finally stopped looking for a record deal is when I actually got one. I was working at this inner city church. A couple gave me $2,000 and they said, "Here, go make your music and you can give it away." That was only my dream. My passion always is just literally just to give the music away. That's all I ever really want to do, is just reach people with my music. So in that situation, I took the money and I put it towards making the album. I didn't have any money left to actually press it up and give it away. So it's funny how you try to figure out what God has when he already kind of told you what to do. And in my case, my passion, and I knew, was to give the music away. But in my head, I thought, oh, I'm not going to make that big step of faith to press up the music and give it away. I'll wait till I get a record deal. And they'll press up the music and I can give it away. Point being, I was just not being obedient to what was already I knew I was supposed to do. And at the time, I started sending off demos to get record deals. I'm sending off my music and I'm getting no response. And so I'm like sinking deeper. I have this album that's finished and I'm like, nothing's being done. Nobody's responding. Nobody wants to give me a deal. I'm just getting the runaround constantly. I'm still working at the church, but the reality is I know there's a shift in my passion. And I had sent the demo off, forgot about it. And I never forget, I sat in my little 1-bedroom apartment. I was making $7.50 an hour as a inner city. I didn't have a title. I wasn't even a pastor. My title was ministry coordinator.
Coordinator, yeah.
That's what I did, which meant I did everything. Yeah. With no title and none of the pay. But the long story short was that basically I was like, I got to be obedient to what God told me. I make $7.50 an hour. It's going to cost me $750 to press up this music. I'm like, I don't have that money. The only thing I can do is put it on a credit card and hope to God that, it works out. And while I knew in my heart that's what I need to do, I'm like, how do I explain this to my wife? You know what I mean? We were barely married. And I'm like, this is the vision God has placed on my heart. How do I fulfill this? And I shared it with her and we got in an argument. Like, just to be honest, we got in a fight right away. She walked out and I just stared at the wall and I just was like, maybe I missed God on this. You know, she should be on board. And before I could even finish that, she walked back in and she said, if that's what God told you to do, then do it.
Wow.
And I say all this with fulfillment is that while we do look for confirmations, I think a lot of times we have to trust. And I'll never forget, I sent it off to get pressed off. Within 2 weeks, I got a phone call. It was a guy that was walking by somebody's office, heard my demo playing, and he said, I want to come down and meet you and offer you a record deal. That was the first producer I ever met. That ended up being my first deal. But none of that happened until I trusted God.
Yeah.
So I guess what we fail to see about fulfillment, we see the finish line. We don't realize that there's a faith step going to it. And that even when you do cross that finish line of fulfillment, whether that is marriage, whether that is your dreams, whether that is whatever your passions are, it's a race.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And once you cross that line, you just got another race to run.
Right. It's so elusive. I mean, it's sometimes here for a moment and then gone, and then other times you get an extended period. And I think as you get older, you 20-year-olds, you're getting older. As you get older, it's not about money or prestige. Being fulfilled in what you do is more priceless than anything else. being fulfilled in my marriage, being fulfilled as a father, being fulfilled as a pastor. I don't want to just go in and check off, these are the things I
Right.
have to get done. That I don't want that kind of life. I want a life where I feel like, wow, I'm doing what I was created to do.
Right. I guess the thing that I had to understand in my 20s that I didn't understand is I was always focused on the finish line.
Right.
And I never enjoyed the journey.
Mm-hmm.
And it was work. When all I wanted to do was be fulfilled, I was always frustrated. When I said, I am just going to simply be obedient to God.
That's good.
I'm going to simply trust the process,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm just going to be plugged in and faithfully doing what He called me to do. Like my
Yeah.
head down. I used to run track, and
Yeah.
you would always see the guys that, when I would run, I would lose the race when I turned around and saw the guy coming up on me. I lost focus.
Mm-hmm.
If I just put my head down and ran that race, before I knew it, I had finished I had won. That's the problem with fulfillment, is that when we focus on the fulfillment versus just doing it,
Yeah.
there's so much more joy.
I meet so many young pastors and they say, hey, how come you always end up at these great churches
Right.
and everything always grow? How can you teach me to do that? And I just tell, how I ended up there? I didn't look for it.
Right.
I took care of the people God called me to in that season, and whenever He called me to the next, that's where we went. So when you start looking to try to produce your own, you're not going to end up in the right
You won't.
place. I think
You'll
you're
be
right.
frustrated, and you want to.
You got to trust God. You got to accept that journey. So you guys, no matter how hard it is, some of you guys are in school, some of you guys are working 2 and 3 jobs. You're not where you want to be in life. This is part of shaping your character, part of getting you ready to be able to stand up to the things when you are in those moments of your goals and your dreams and being fulfilled. I love what you say. If we could learn to enjoy the journey, because that's really 90% of it is the journey.
Right, and that's actually one of the songs I wrote on the new record, because I said, well, enjoy all the mystery. Learn to shut up. Learn how to listen, please. Like, if I had to tell myself something in my 20s, is like, enjoy this process. There is joy to be found in it. It's hard to say that when you're not in it.
Yeah, when you're not, no, it is. But in retrospect,
Absolutely.
you look back and go, man, it would have been a lot more beneficial if I would have paid attention and enjoyed. So as you go back to your groups and you start connecting and talking about fulfillment, what fulfills you right now might not be the same thing that fulfills you in 10 years. It shouldn't be. And sometimes God gets you going towards a direction and you end up over here. I mean, I see that all the time in people's life. They think they're going, I'm just going to be a youth pastor, but God's getting you going here and you're actually becoming an associate pastor.
Right.
Or whatever. So don't limit God. Chase Him, and I believe you'll find that fulfillment you're looking for. So go back, chat with one another, and enjoy.